Hello everyone, Siri Emerald here, and this will be an unboxing video of the Hot Toys Iron Man 3 Mark 21, item number 902117, 12-inch collectible action figure. Let's get her open. Alright, here we are, the Mark 21 Midas from Sideshow Exclusive Edition. And on the outside we have the figure itself is rough, but all the words are nice and smooth, just like the Mark 20 was. It says 1/6 scale collectible figure, MMS 208, Hot Toys, Movie Masterpiece Series. Mark 21, it's 2 X's and an I, which is 10 and 10 is 20 and I is 1. It says Marvel Iron Man 3. And right here it says Midas. And it's all gold, the shades of gold. And on this side, the Midas words continue. And it says 21, just the same as it does in the front. 1/6 scale collectible figure, MMS 208. On this side, it says the same thing again. Pretty much it's an exact duplicate of this side on this side. And let's see, on the top, now it's silver colored. It says Marvel Iron Man 3. And on the back, or excuse me, the bottom says Marvel Iron Man 3. By the way, this is the Sideshow exclusive sticker that they put on. That's all raised. You can feel all that. And on the back here are, I don't know if we can even read this. See here. It says Midas 1/6 scale collectible figure, MS 208, just like on the front. Again, Mark 21. Warning, choking hazard, small parts, not for children under 3 years old. Adult collectible, not a toy. Recommended for ages 15 and up. Suitable for ages 15 and up. Read the instructions. Not for children under 3 years old due to small parts which may cause choking hazards. And some components are rather sharp in shape. And then there's a notice here, package is intended to protect the product itself only. And down here we have a little barcode sticker on the outside of it there. And this is produced by Hot Toys, distributed by Toy Hunters, and all the other copyrights right there on it. Hot Toys presents the Movie Masterpiece Series, 1/6 scale collectible figure, Iron Man 3, Iron Man Mark 21, Midas, made in China. Alright, this is the sleeve box. So we'll slide it up. And there's our piece right there. And what we have is, in all honesty, it is a Mark 7 repaint. But keep in mind, Hot Toys and or Sideshow, Hot Toys didn't create this design for this piece. This was created by the Marvel Universe production companies, the writers, the creators, the producers of Iron Man 3 movie. When they were making the House Party Protocol, Hot Toys is producing the figures as they come about, and the Mark 21 just happens to be an exact duplicate of the Mark 7 in the gold paint scheme. Which, if you remember correctly, in the first movie when he was trying to fly as high as he could and the armor iced up, he had to turn it gold to make it resilient to the icing effect. And when they first did that on the computer screen, he said, that's a bit ostentatious, don't you think? Throw a little hot rod red on it and call it done. So I guess at this point he decided, let's be ostentatious. Let's go ahead and just be all out there and show off the gold. And there it is. There's the Midas touch. So won't be very many surprises on this, I imagine, as it is a Mark 7. But let's take it out of the box and see what we have. let's look at the back of the box. Names of the people here that are responsible for this particular collectible. We have Howard Chan and J.C. Hong, creative producers. Jason Wu, product designer. Engineering designers, Jason Wu, Eddie Lau, and Ming Young. Armor painter, Woo Young Lee. Painting art director, J.C. Hong. Package designer, Tsuyo and Monster Jr. Photography director, Jan Wong. Production controller, Jason Wu and Fai Louis. And it says for wholesale information, contact Toy Hunters. Wholesale is at hottoys.com.hk. So there you go. Let's give this guy his life. Breathe into him life. Alright, by the way, this is a shadow box. It's got a black. This sleeve will slide in and out. So, I imagine you can actually do some creative storage actually with them in there. Museum quality storage. Put them back in there instead of having them out. Keep them protected. The design of the box is actually would be pretty good for that. The way that they did that. Just want to share that with you. You can actually use that as a display box, should you so desire. So we have here the typical clamshell box with the 4 layers of plastic that hold everything. So the top layer, 2 layers, are where the figure is, with our warning in the top here. It says please read instruction sheet first and follow all construction details during the assemble process. And I always have a problem with that, assemble. I think it should say during the assembly process. That's how I think it should be written on there. Okay, so let's get him separated from the bottom here. We'll go over what we have down there first. Place you right there, Midas. All right. So we have the base, which came with it was a mech test. It's the first one I came up with. That was lighted. This one will not be lighted, I imagine. They have not been, that I've seen. And it is not. So there's that. And interestingly enough, it is not a pose rod. It's it's not a flight pose rod. It's the standard acrylic rod they give you when they don't expect you to put the weight of the piece on the rod, which leads me to believe that it's possible that they were actually considering doing this as a die cast. Why would they package it with a solid rod when the weight of the piece isn't a consideration or a factor in this, as it's all a plastic piece? Now, the Mark II did come with, the Mark II Armor Unleashed did come with a solid plastic rod. But I don't think that had anything to do with flight pose. I don't think they had the flight pose created at that point. I may be wrong, but the flight pose rods were definitely created at this point. So I'm wondering why they decided to go with a solid rod for this. But that's okay. It'll work just fine for what it is intended to do, to assist the piece in standing. So you have a hole on one end of the rod, by the way, and the other end of the rod is solid. And so, of course, the solid is going to go up because you don't want dust or whatever to settle in here. So you definitely wouldn't put that into the up position. So that's going to go down into the stand. And then we have the little grabber claw here with this little soft rubber on the inside. And on the flight pose stands, there is a place at the top that you unscrew and put it on there. This one, you're just going to have to place it. Now, it goes on very, very loosely. As a matter of fact, it doesn't want to stay at all, and that's no problem, because right here we have a nut right there, and on this other side is a bolt. And the reason it's a bolt and not a screw is because it screws into a nut. A screw would screw into a solid surface, and a bolt and nut are two pieces. So that's a nut and bolt combination. So you just tighten that down, and that's what will hold him in place. So now whether or not I want to replace this with a flight pose stand, or with a flight pose rod, that's something for me to consider, and something that you may want to consider doing yourself as well in that regards. And I just wanted to say that. So there we go. Put that over there. Also in here, I don't see any batteries. That's that's very interesting. Doesn't come with any batteries evidently, huh? Well, unless they're in the other piece. So let's have a look here, see what we have. The instructions. I always recommend reading the instructions. Whether you follow them, that's entirely up to you. Nobody can make you follow the instructions. But you should always read the instructions. Nothing else that would make you smarter. Reading is a great way of learning. Okay, so we have one big sheet, turn to the one side, Mark 21, Midas. Okay, so the faceplate comes off from the front. I see. So the batteries are installed in the unit. So this is during that transition period where they were going from the batteries to the non-batteries being installed already. So all we'll have to do is just slide out this little piece of plastic for the batteries. It does tell you how to install them, and it tells you what size the batteries are, although on one of the pieces that we went through, we discovered that they had printed the wrong size in there. And as I was saying earlier, no surprise here, this is essentially the Mark 7, so all these instructions are going to be exactly the same as that piece. It appears. Removable chest piece. We have the removable shoulder pieces, and interchangeable hands, the articulated brake flaps, how to turn the batteries on and off for the chest piece. There it shows you the transparent pillar and the figure holding clip to the base. Figure holding clip, pretty good name for it. So it is not recommended to unscrew and open the battery cover, as the figure stage does not support light up function. I'm wondering, I didn't really pay much attention to it, if there was a screw in there or just a rubber cover. I wonder if that's, I should pop that open. Maybe there actually is a screw under there. I have to see that. See what that does. So, and right over here we've got the armors under the chest. Can be interchanged, and the air brake deployment system on the calves. So that's the instructions. Like I said, I recommend always reading them. Whether or not you follow them, again, that's up to you. And there's a little plastic pry piece that they include to help you remove the pieces. These instructions back in here. Alright, so now let's get him out of here. And I can tell right now he didn't come with all the pieces that the Mark 7 that I have has, but he does have the interchangeable shoulder missiles. So you have closed missiles and open missiles. And he does come with the rockets on the forearms. And he does come with the closed fists, the repulsor hands, and the articulated hands. He does not come with the interchangeable thigh armors. It does not come with the interchangeable with the smooth shoulders without the rocket packs, and he only comes with one head. But these pieces will still be interchangeable with that, should you so desire to customize him in that manner. Set him up like such. So let's get him out of here. Mark 21. Midas. That Midas touch. King Midas. The guy who loved the gold so much he wanted to make it so that everything you touch would turn to gold. And you may know the parable of the story yourself. And he touched his daughter, and she turned into solid gold, and he lost his daughter from his greed. Alright, so here we are. I was researching about these pieces here, and unfortunately I don't know what kind of rubber that it's constructed out of. Now, why is that important, you may ask? The reason that is important is because different rubbers are handled differently in regards to the cleaning process and the care and the storage of such. And with some of the rubbers, it's okay to wash them in water, and some of the rubbers, they say not to wash in water, rubbers and plastic. So, not that I would imagine anybody would ever submerge their figure in water, but what that also means is some of the rubbers you can care for and maintain with talc powder, baby powder, to keep it from getting destroyed, and some of them you cannot. So I wish that we could get something from Hot Toys telling us how to take care of this piece here, and so that it doesn't brittle up on us and break, because we want to keep these a very long time, our Hot Toy armors. Why am I having such difficulty with this? What in the world? So, until I can find out more, or until Hot Toys reveals a way of keeping these from getting brittle and falling apart, just follow their advice of not having him in this mode too long. You see how it folds and bends up right there. If you keep it in a bent position, that is going to get brittle, it's going to dry up, it's going to crack and break and rip open, and then you're not going to be a very happy camper. So that some advice for you in that regard. All right, so let's pull him open here and get his little batteries out of there. Dropped it as soon as I pulled it out. No, there it is. It's not that it's ever going to go back in, but slide these on. Let's go ahead and put a repulsor palm on him. Well, looks like we've got a little problem here. He's all out of discombobulated there. I'm going to have to recombobulate him. He's not supposed to be like that. That's not how he's supposed to go. He ain't supposed to be like that. going to put an articulated hand on him. So don't have to worry about changing that wrist gauntlet out. Now, yeah, let's go ahead and change out that wrist gauntlet. That just pulls right off like that. And we'll put this one on him. Right there. And we'll put the articulated one on him here. No, let's go back to the other one. I don't want that one on there. I'll put that one back on there. Slide you up there where you belong. And we'll put the articulated hand on here. I really like the articulated hands. For one, they're light up. For two, they're articulated. You can make a fist with them. You can do anything position that you like because they have the same joints the fingers do that you do. 3 joints in them. The thumb has 2. It doesn't have the one in your palm, but it has 2, which is enough to get a fist made or an okay hand or whatever. Now this piece here is connected properly, but that piece is not. I'll have to get onto that, fix that. Here's the brakes and the on-off switch right there for that, and the little plastic piece, and there's that bright LED there. And more brakes. Again, this is a Mark 7, so no surprises here on how that works. On-off switch is right there, and his pieces here, you actually have two little bitty one that opens up right there, and then this opens and closes into that piece like such. And in the Mark II, these fold in and out. They don't on the Mark 7s. Let's see if this pops off. Yep, it does. So it could be interchangeable with the ones for the Mark 7 if you want to put the silver ones on there and color them up. If you want to put the red ones on here, let's turn this off. Put the red ones on here. This piece pops off here, right there, just like on the Mark 7. And this pops off here, just like on the Mark 7. So, of course, that would be interchangeable in case you want to make them red and gold. Instead of just gold, you can really color them up as you wish. And here's his articulations in his waist. You can move that much right there. There's straight on. And that's his twist there. And then that's his twist right there. There's straight on. And you just pop that right back down there for his standard mode. All the pieces of plastic out here. They put in there for his transport and protection to keep him from getting all scratched up. He has some slight battle damage on him. You see some right there, and we see some here on his thigh pieces. Interesting that it's just on a couple of pieces. So, and it's only on a couple of the interchangeable pieces. Let's have a look at his feet. See if they've battle damaged his feet up any at all. Let's just cut this plastic. This is getting this tape on here. It's difficult to pull it straight off. So let's cut them off. Let's cut that tape. Right there. Alright, so use battle damage here on his shin, right there. And this really isn't battle damage. It's just kind of scuffed up a bit. These flip open. And it's just silver in there instead of painted. Sometimes I've seen they paint the wires in there, and they didn't do that in this instance. And when you lift this, by the way, it slides in and out, so you want to make sure you're careful with that. Lift it up like that if you want, or whatever. Those will get worn out after a while. And this foot slides back and forth. You have a little movement right there. This retracts up like that. His toe is articulated separately from the rest of his foot. Right there. And you have a side-to-side wiggle of the foot as well. His leg will bend in this capacity, like that. And then his leg will bend the rest of the way right there to give him a great knee bend. So it's a double jointed leg there, or double jointed knee. His thighs will twist independently of his hip. So you have a twist there, and then of course you have the hip movement as well. Inside of that, the hip move. So you have standard movement of that, and you'll go out about that far. And this is a soft rubber as well, so you can see it moves a little bit to afford him the opportunity to move the thighs without them being impinged upon with the if this were a hard piece of plastic. So it's designed to allow this movement around in such manner as that. So here he is, the Mark 21. He's a welcome piece. I'm happy to have him. Show you how these come off. Let's go over to the side. It's not discombobulated. And essentially what you do here is you just pull this straight up like such, and then you can grab the little rocket arm here, and this one has a little R on it right there. You can probably make that out. Let's see if we get it to focus on that. Right inside there is an R. And that way you know it goes on the right arm. And then it just snaps in place right there. That goes in the slot. And there you have that. His arms, they move inside the joint there. They twist on that joint there. You have the shoulder piece rocks back and forth as such. You twist the arm like that. And then, of course, you can lift this guy straight off of here, the shoulder rocket, and replace it with the rocket pack. That is, the doors are open on it. Right here. There. And that's the open door rocket pack on there. You can take a focus in on that. There's also little rocket heads on that. And same piece as the other. And you have a tab and a slot and a post and a hole. I'm going to put that on there like this. And I've experienced a little difficulty in that, to getting them in there. You just have to be patient. At the top, the post and the hole first. And then try to line the tab up. So if it works for you, there you go. So The rockets are open. All right, so thank you very much for watching. Post your comments below what you think of this figure. So follow me on Facebook, Siri.Emerald. Subscribe to my channel, like my videos. Stay tuned for more. And thanks for watching. Happy collecting.